After what I can only assume Ryan Reynolds thought was a triumphant appearance on Saturday Night Live's 50th anniversary, he must not have loved seeing Colin Jost come back to Saturday Night Live last night with a joke at his wife, Blake Lively's expense.
Oh, hey, Ryan Reynolds.
Hi.
Hey, dude. How's it going?
Great. Why? What did you hear? Yeah. Okay. Look, my question is, you know this? Yeah. Okay. Look, my question.
Harassed, and has made jokes about that type of situation.
It was supposed to be their grand return, a moment that would remind the world why Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively were once considered Hollywood's most charming and untouchable power couple. But what started as a lighthearted appearance on Saturday Night Live's 50th anniversary quickly spiraled into a full-blown disaster. Now, their image is in freefall, and it's not just about a bad joke. Let's break down the shocking scandal that's shaking up Hollywood.
Characters already in the beginning of the first season that come in and mess up our lives even more. We start in the Hamptons, which is a staple of New York socialites that you haven't yet seen.
Chuck has a matching pet monkey with coordinating outfits, and I was like, I would love to be part of the show, but I can't act with a monkey. And then I got a few of them. Come on, it was a joke.
Ryan Reynolds, always the funny guy, took to the SNL stage, likely feeling confident. After all, he had just made a triumphant appearance on the show's special anniversary episode, but things quickly took an unexpected turn. Colin Jost, co-host of Weekend Update, cracked a joke at Ryan's expense, poking fun at Blake Lively. Ouch. And to make matters worse, Colin is married to Scarlett Johansson, Ryan's ex-wife. Yep, things just got messier.
Blake Lively is, right? Most people know her. Yeah, see, the people who are booing, they know. Then there's this guy, Justin Baldoni, who's not as well known. And yeah, see, they've been following the story. So he optioned this book called It Ends With Us, and it's about domestic violence. And he managed to get Blake Lively to star in his movie across from him. He played the guy and she played...
What was supposed to be a light moment soon turned into a full-on roast. Jost's joke hit harder than anyone expected, and the uncomfortable silence that followed spoke volumes. Hollywood had just delivered its message. Ryan and Blake's perfect couple image was no longer untouchable. Fans and celebrities alike watched, some cringing, others laughing awkwardly. It was clear Blake and Ryan were no longer the industry darlings they once were.
I defend Justin Baldoni in this lawsuit with Blake Lively because I think she's horrible and she's made up this whole thing because she tried to steal his movie. But he is the most overly feminized man I've had to endure in recent history.
Blake Lively did not even read the book that the movie was based on.
Correct.
And we're not talking War and Peace. And then she wanted to, ixnayed all of the wardrobe choices, because when you're making a movie about a poor woman who's suffering from domestic violence, you want her to look like she has money.
Right.
That Blake said.
Blake's response to the joke? Subtle eye rolls, looking down, trying to brush it off. But the damage had already been done. Fans took to social media, immediately calling them out. Ryan, once Hollywood's lovable, funny guy, now seemed like the punchline. The joke about Blake, coupled with the ongoing legal drama, made everything spiral out of control.
Another day comes yet another clip that makes both Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively look like massive hypocrites. I just can't get over how many are coming in. Yeah, Ryan Reynolds is now caught talking about staring at a stranger who was feeding their baby. And it sounds so bad given Blake's complaint now. I can't even. Also, we got to talk about Deadpool showing up at the Oscars. And Blake's co-star, Blandon Scanar. My God, he's so boring. This guy on the red carpet is just...
And then, things got worse. Just when they thought it couldn't get any more uncomfortable, a new report surfaced. Ryan had been caught making eyebrow-raising comments in another interview about staring at a stranger feeding their baby. The timing? Awful. Especially since Blake had spoken out about similar situations in the past.
So vapid and interesting. If you got nothing to say, dude, don't go to the interviews trying to make yourself a thing, because you know you're going to get pressed this question, and every time he gets answered now, he wants nothing to do with supporting Blake, which is the complete opposite of Paul Feig, who has a movie coming out starring Blake, so he's got to be nice. Of course, he wants his movie to do well. It wouldn't be good to be crapping on his co-star right before.
For months, Blake and Ryan had convinced everyone they were Hollywood's perfect couple with their playful social media banter and flawless family. But the cracks were starting to show. Rumors of Blake's diva behavior on set and Ryan's behind-the-scenes tactics to control his career narrative began to surface.
This story, Justin Baldoni. Now, as you know, these jokes are written like sometimes up until the minute. They literally have cue card guys in the back getting high off the fumes of Sharpies, writing these jokes down as they sort of adjust depending on the times. They shoot an episode 2 hours beforehand, like 9 or 10 p.m. They shoot an episode. They don't air it. They just record it. And depending on how the audience reacts, they'll adjust things. So if a joke bombs and you don't believe in it, you might cut it.
Hollywood wasn't buying the charming image anymore. What was once seen as witty and relatable had now turned into a desperate attempt to maintain control over a narrative they could no longer manage. It was clear the industry had moved on, and Blake and Ryan were falling out of favor.
And I say that because there was a lot of discussion about Ryan Reynolds and the joke he told and how he rewrote it for the crew. That's super normal. If he's going to be the person saying something out loud, he has input on what is said. In the end, if they don't think it's funny, they'll let him know and they'll collaborate in that direction. But it wasn't that the joke wasn't funny because the audience laughed. It was that when you break down the joke that Ryan Reynolds said, you realize kind of like oh man, imagine if the genders were reversed. This would be an absolute monstrous thing to make fun of.
Enter Justin Baldoni, a relatively unknown director who became the center of their legal battle. Justin had been trying to make his passion project, It Ends With Us, a reality for years, but things took a turn when Blake was cast in the lead role. Rumors spread that Blake started taking control of the production, pushing Baldoni out of his own project. Guess who was allegedly backing her up? Ryan. Instead of keeping a low profile,
I'm unaware of anybody, frankly, whose wife has been really harassed and has made jokes about that type of situation.
Ryan reportedly used his star power to manipulate the situation, making it harder for Justin to keep his vision intact. The media began to see through the facade of Blake and Ryan's image. They were no longer the victims of a malicious narrative. They were the ones pulling the strings behind the scenes. By the time the legal battle escalated, the couple had attempted to flip the narrative, making Justin the bad guy. But the more details came out, the more it became clear that the couple's control over the situation...
I defend Justin Baldoni in this lawsuit with Blake Lively because I think she's horrible and she's made up this whole thing because she tried to steal his movie. But he is the most overly feminized man I've had to endure in recent history. Everything he says is self-flagellating over the fact that he's a man. But he's, to me, is sort of the embodiment of what happens when you totally emasculate a man. And then she continued, she took that stiletto and stuck it in his heart when he was down there self-flagellating, being so sorry for anything having to do with his testosterone.
Was slipping. Ryan's involvement in the Deadpool and Wolverine promo campaign, where he sneakily took jabs at Baldoni, only added fuel to the fire. While Ryan and Blake tried to leverage their Hollywood status to manipulate the story, Baldoni stayed calm, focused, and professional. And in the end, it was Baldoni who came out on top. Hollywood began to respect his composure and his commitment to the project.
And so that's what happens to you, right? You run into somebody who seems like a witch who will take advantage of you and hurt you until finally even that kind of a guy rises up. Now, he didn't do it himself exactly. He hired a badass named Brian Friedman. And he has badass women like me defending him. Mm-hmm. But slowly but surely, I think the male class is learning down on the floor, squirming and apologizing for being a man is not the way.
Meanwhile, Blake and Ryan's desperate attempts to control the narrative only made things worse. The moment Blake and Ryan truly realized things were unraveling came during SNL's 50th anniversary tribute. Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, both SNL. Legends, called out Ryan in the audience, and it was awkward. The entire room seemed to freeze as the celebrity duo delivered what
Blake Lively did not even read the book that the movie was based on.
Correct.
And we're not talking War and Peace. And then she wanted to ixnayed all of the wardrobe choices, because when you're making a movie about a poor woman who's suffering from domestic violence, you want her to look like she has money.
Right.
That Blake said.
That's what she did.
She looks like she has money.
Yep.
And she's dressing in florals. And then she's going on this press tour